Hello, and welcome to another episode of Hacking with Friends. My name is Cody Kinsey. I'm a security researcher at Varonis, and today we have our co-host, Michael, back from his excursion to figure out whatever became of Bigfoot. So, what did you find?
Apparently he took a trip to the tropics, and as you can see, I got a little toasted searching for him there. But we found some pretty strong evidence, and in fact, we might show some of that today with our little trusty camera.
Okay, well, I don't know anything about that, so I'm excited to be surprised. So today I'm going to be showing a little bit about what someone can see if they happen to intercept traffic on your local area network. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a number of different ways to do this, and one of the ones that we have showed before was BetterCap. Now, Michael, do you remember what BetterCap is?
That's one of those hacking programs.
Yep.
That does stuff that I don't remember precisely what. I get it confused with Wireshark.
Okay.
A lot. I think it's like Arp Spoofing and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so basically, if you want to intercept traffic on a local area network that is not intended for you, then pretty much what you have to do is either be in line with the target, so be able to intercept traffic that's going over like an Ethernet cable, or kind of rearrange the network to meet your own specifications. So one way you can do this is with Arp Spoofing. And what that will do is blast out a whole bunch of packets on the network that are sending misleading or confusing signals, making all the other devices on the network think that you are the router. Once you've successfully done this, then you can basically accept all those connections, look through them, and then forward them on to the router. And it creates a situation where you are executing a man-in-the-middle attack, which means you're at the center of all the traffic. You can theoretically see and maybe go through all the stuff that's going through you or through your computer as it goes to the router. And this is a really good position to be in, maybe over Wi-Fi or something, if you're on a network that allows you to do this. Now, a more simple approach might be just tapping the Ethernet cable that is going to a device that you're interested in. And of course, you could also do this to your own device if you just want to see like what kind of traffic is flowing through it and whether or not there's anything interesting going on in that traffic. You'll often find that apps will request a whole bunch of interesting things that you might not know they're actually doing. Otherwise, you can use this traffic to do things like intercept passwords that are being submitted to insecure applications, or even be able to look at things like webcam traffic, which is what we are going to do today. So the setup here is Michael is going to be on his computer, and he is going to, over the network, submit a login and password to our favorite website, mydougal.com, and we're going to see if we can intercept that. But also, we are going to see if we can intercept whatever he's looking at on a webcam. And as an example, we've set up this ESP32 cam today. This is just a cheap little ESP32 based Wi-Fi camera that we programmed to connect to our Wi-Fi and transmit over the network, which is, like relatively straightforward and simple to do. So what our goal is for Michael to connect to this, and then as an attacker, for us to be able to intercept what is going on. So we'll try two different things to set this up, but first off, we're going to have to set up our camera and do a little bit of I guess, pre-setup before all of this will just work. So we're going to connect our camera over to our sample Wi-Fi network. We're going to then use a Hak5 tool to do the actual capture. And then we're going to go ahead and try to recover what we found from that, as you said, hacking device. So do you want to go ahead and pull up the packet squirrel?
Oh,
yeah.
Yes. It is somewhere nestled in here.
All right, you can unplug it for now. It's not doing anything important, obviously. So the Packet Squirrel is a Hak5 device that allows you to intercept traffic provided you have, well, part of this is the Packet Squirrel. Let's just go ahead.
There you go.
All right, yeah, there we go. So this is a Packet Squirrel, and if you are in a situation where you have access to like the back of like a desktop computer or some device that you're interested in, and it's kind of two things have to be satisfied here. One, there has to be a USB port available, or at least maybe like a power cable or like a power outlet nearby where you could plug this in either to the computer itself, which is very convenient, or you could plug it into something else to power this device, which is basically a tiny Linux computer. Then you'll need some sort of storage. So in this case, we are using this 8 gigabyte USB drive that I pulled from, I think, maybe the RSA conference press room. Because
Totally has malware on it.
yeah, well, it did. Now I've completely deleted everything on it. But a good source of free extra flash drives, if you don't mind the fact that most of them, yes, do originally come with malware. So we're also going to be using a short Ethernet patch cable. And this will allow us, obviously, to plug into the back while having the normal cable that would usually go into the back of the computer go in here. And by sitting in the middle, we'll be able to exfiltrate data onto this stupid USB drive. Of course, we could have a much slimmer one or one with a higher capacity if we really wanted to. And there's also a couple of other payloads on this. Did you know that?
No, what are they?
So there's one that allows you to connect to the network over a VPN. So this then becomes like an evil, how do I put it? Like an
Man
evil,
in the middle.
a backdoor to the network,
Okay.
and allows you to get into the network, start scanning and doing things from this device, basically. So that's really cool because it allows you from anywhere potentially to come in over a VPN and actually start manipulating the network. So yeah, some other really cool payloads as well. We're going to be sticking to the first one, but you'll need a micro USB cable to power the sucker, which plugs in right there and then plugs in again to the wall or to the device. You'll need the device to actually save to, and then you'll need this cable. Now, a bit of warning about this USB stick. Michael, what kind of file format do you think it takes?
Like exFAT?
Yeah, like exFAT would be normal, right?
Yeah.
Why not exFAT? No, it doesn't take exFAT. And in fact, if you format this as exFAT, it will just start blinking like red, blue, and green over
Okay.
and over and over. And there's very little documentation as to what that means, and it was confusing to me. So eventually you find out that no, it hates exFAT, and instead it wants NTFS.
Okay.
So NTFS is like a Windows format. It means this is going to perform a little funky on like a Mac OS system. So yeah, this is obviously not very optimized towards like a Mac OS device, but that's okay. We can still get it to work, and I believe I have like a file format add-on or extension on my Mac OS system that allows me to format to NTFS. But yeah, that was annoying.
Yeah, that does sound inconvenient.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how some Linux program or computers will like that, or operating systems will like NTFS, but whatever.
Yeah.
So
Go
we
ahead.
need to make sure that this is properly formatted before we get started. That is probably the most important thing. So if this is formatted wrong or has a bunch of data on it and it's full or whatever, then none of this will work and you won't get anything back.
Cool. And then we're going to show how to do that, or...
So that's going to vary depending on what system you're on. For me, it's as simple as opening up Disk Manager and then right mouse clicking on this and then hitting erase and then just selecting NTFS. So it would take as long as what I just said, and it
Right.
would have exactly the same amount of information. Just make sure you format this beforehand on whatever system you're using. How do you format a disk on a Windows system?
I don't even know. I would honestly just Google it off the top of my...
Okay, all right. Well, I know how to format it on a Mac OS system, and that's the way to do it. But if you're on a Windows system, then Michael says Google it. So, all right. So we're going to basically go ahead and tap Michael's internet. So how do we do that? Well, first, if we just switch over to my computer for a second, we're going to go ahead and flash this camera so that we are sure that it's actually working. So this is going to be our intended device that we're intercepting. So Michael's going to be watching this camera on his computer, and we're going to try to intercept it. So our test camera is a USB Type-C interface ESP32 camera. These are pretty cheap, or they were pretty cheap before the chip shortage. And you can get them for $15, $20 on, or even less, honestly. Sometimes you can get them for $7. And they're generally pretty easy to program, although sometimes you will have this issue where it will either try to access what's called PSRAM when it doesn't have PSRAM, or it will fail to identify the camera. So if this happens, then I actually did a guide on this, I think on Nullbyte a long time ago. But you can basically specify which version of this you have by either commenting out or uncommenting a specific type of camera. So if you have the AI Thinker version, which allows you to do facial recognition, then you can have that ability not kind of grayed out by, selecting this one instead. In this case, we have an M5 stack style board that has no PS RAM. And PS RAM basically is some extra RAM that's available on the chip that allows it to do things that require more memory, like facial recognition. So unfortunately, in this one, we don't get to have facial recognition. But again, that's not really the point of what we're doing today, so no big deal. So we're using, a slightly less powerful model, but again, it's easy to come by, and it's USB Type-C, which on a MacBook Pro is really nice because it can have a USB Type-C to USB Type-C cable. And then we just need to enter in our credentials. So this sketch is a very, very basic sketch to just offer up an interface over the network and connect to Wi-Fi. And really all we need to configure is which board we're using and then the credentials. So I'm going to go ahead then and under Tools, something else to note is when you're connecting to one of these boards like this, sometimes it's better to select something like the AI Thinker, ESP32 CAM as the device you're flashing to, because like, for example, this one doesn't have any specific support in Arduino IDE. So it kind of requires you to get a little bit creative in order to flash to it. In this case, flashing to the AI Thinker is perfectly acceptable and works. I have it on this port, so I'm going to go ahead and flash, and then we're going to go and check the serial interface and see if it is in fact serving it up or if there's some sort of issue. So once that's up and running, then we're going to go ahead and have Michael watch this webcam while we intercept the traffic. Then we're going to take the USB stick and see if we can take a look at what Michael is doing. And I'll also have Michael just go to a couple websites in order to generate some DNS traffic. And maybe we'll be able to see which websites he actually went to.
Okay.
So this is going to go ahead and start uploading. And this is actually kind of a lot of data. Typically, this goes really quickly, but like I found that when you're uploading to an ESP32, it goes a little bit more slowly. So we're at like 60%, but soon this will be done. And when it's done, we should get a little confirmation. I will then start a serial monitor by pressing Command-Shift-M, and that will let us see basically serial output from our little camera. Oh, there we go. And we're going to make sure that it's actually connecting properly. So that looks like a bunch of random garbage. But what we want to do is just press the reset button so it'll restart itself. And there we go. All right, so it's connecting. We're now connected over Wi-Fi. So it looks like our Wi-Fi configuration was good. And then we can go over here
so it's
to
103.
connect. Yeah, 103. So I'm going to go over to, let's do Firefox. Yeah, okay, Firefox. And yeah, as we can see, I'm going to go back here. We have a bunch of different options. I'm going to select the second largest one because this is a little camera. And then I'm going to start the stream. And look at that. Oh, it's Michael. I'm going to stop the stream. So let me downgrade this just a little bit. Start the stream again. Okay. And look at that. It's Michael. So, very nice, Michael. So, all right. Putting this here, we can see we have a couple of different options. H mirror, V flip. So vertical flip flips it like this. H mirror, we can switch it over this way. So as you can see, we have some options, yet none of them seem to make Michael. So we can also apply special effects. All this is very fun and cool. So this is what Michael will be looking. We can see if we try to toggle facial detection. I don't think it's going to work because I don't think that has... let's see. Oh, maybe it does.
I know how to defeat facial recognition anyway
because
of
our So it looks
episode.
like it looks like it's like pretending to support facial recognition, but like does not actually. So that's fine because again, we are not doing that today.
So should I plug Ethernet in the Packet Squirrel?
1 second. I just want to see gain ceiling, white V flip, color bar face. Oh wait, face. Can I just?
That's a lot of options.
Yeah. I wish it would flip. It makes me so mad that it won't. So, all right. So I'm just going to hold it up then.
Yeah, I think it's frozen.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. So we can see what happens when we try to do stuff that it's just not prepared for. So it just crashes. And if we go over to our stream, we can see, memory alloc failed. No memory. Oh, no, there's no memory. Blah. So yeah, it's just like mad about not having SRAM. So, or PSRAM. So we're going to start the stream again. And look at that. Now that we're not trying to do anything wonky with facial recognition, it's perfectly fine. and we're gonna have we flip this?
Yeah, it's kind of amazing what these little cameras can do for so cheap.
Yeah. So we'll also go ahead and get a still, and there you go. So pretty basic stuff. I'm gonna put this back here, and as you can see, we're able to access this over Wi-Fi or over the local network, and we're fine. So now let's see if with this little Hak5 device, we can start using access, physical access in this case, to get a better peek at what Michael's doing on his computer. So this would be saved as a capture file on this. And what we hope to do is be able to take this device and look at the USB stick and get an idea of everything that was happening on Michael's computer. So I need, for this to work,
dongle.
First I have to plug this in here. So this will give us power. Then here, this is data out. So this is going to the computer we want to mess with, I guess. And then we'll need to plug this into Ethernet. So
That's over yonder.
Yep.
So.
And also, if possible, I need you to make sure the LED of the packet squirrel is facing towards us so we can see it.
Where's the LED?
It's on the front where your thumb is.
Where my thumb is?
Yeah.
This.
Yep. Cool. So then we'll go ahead and plug that in. And depending on the LED color, we'll know more or less what's happening on the packet scroll. So Michael's going to plug this in.
And then I'll just like tilt my laptop.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not all the way.
Yeah.
All right. So it's going to start up, and we should be able to see a light blinking on it. Right now, it is in a... Okay, there.
Yep, it's like a green or yellow light.
Just pull your laptop up so we can see it on the camera. Okay. So we can see that it's blinking green. Now, blinking green means that the device is starting up. So everything is normal. That's fine. Eventually, once it fully starts up, it's going to... it says blink cyan, but it really looks yellow to me.
Okay.
But whatever. So once it finishes starting up, then we should see a blinking color, and that will mean that it is accepting traffic, and it is also writing traffic to the card, or in this case, the USB stick.
And how long does this normally take to boot up?
Like a minute, maybe.
Okay.
So looking at it, it still looks kind of blue to me.
Yeah, it's blue.
Okay, actually, let me double check. So let's switch over to you. Well, all right. So what you need to do is switch your internet over to Ethernet and then turn off your Wi-Fi.
Yeah. So I just turn off the Wi-Fi. And then it should do Ethernet automatically, right? Open network preferences.
Okay, after a little bit of network configuration, we found out that the problem was, of course, the dongle. So we have now connected Michael's computer to the internet via the packet squirrel. So what's going on here is we have the USB stick plugged in, we have an Ethernet cable coming in to this, and then we have an Ethernet coming out, which is then going into Michael's computer. So while we are intercepting this traffic, we should be able to see anything that he's doing, with a couple of caveats. Now, Michael, can you think of some things we wouldn't be able to see?
Anything encrypted with a VPN or anything going over HTTPS.
Right, so anything with TLS, SSL, we should not be able to see. But anything like logins that are passing over plain text or just HTTP, and then also things like DNS requests, we should be able to see perfectly fine. So let's go ahead and switch over to Michael's computer, and we're going to do a couple things that should generate some requests. So, all right, in a new tab then, go ahead and type in mygoogle.com because we're going to want to generate a DNS request. And what that's going to do is a request is going to go out over the network that's hopefully being cached. And if we were an attacker, we should now be able to do a search through all the DNS requests that are being made over Michael's internet and find out that he's went to this website. All right, so now go ahead and type in your username and password.
Yeah, hopefully that wasn't cached. Okay, and just...
And of course, I believe you're on Firefox. It's giving you warnings that, you know, this is not a secured website. Yeah. So you should be careful about submitting your credentials, and you absolutely should. That is correct. So now we also need to do the additional step of taking a look at the webcam. So go ahead and go to 192.168.1.103.
.103.
Yep.
Hey, I see a bunch of toggles.
Okay, so at the bottom, go ahead and scroll all the way down, and you're going to want to just click on Get Still. Okay, kind of boring. Do it maybe a couple more times. Okay, and then click on Start Stream. Whoa.
Oh, it's a bit of ghosty.
Yeah, so we can switch like between different resolutions or stuff. Go ahead and stop the stream. Now go up to the top and let's select a higher resolution. Go ahead and select the highest resolution.
Oh, we're gonna go.
and then hit Get Still. Okay, well that didn't really work. Go ahead and maybe go back up. Maybe go back up and select a smaller resolution. So what we're seeing here is like the limits of the PS RAM. Like we're basically getting it up to like the limits of what it can do. Still too much. Gotta go lower. Maybe too lower.
No. Look, we got this. See,
right,
you had too little faith.
All right. So this is kind of like the maximum what we can do. Go ahead and capture one more still. Okay, great.
Okay.
So maybe this will be our target. We'll try to get something like this and see if we can extract it.
See, when I'm hunting Bigfoot and y'all say potato video, that's why it's this.
Yeah, that's what Michael takes to go out and hunt Bigfoot. Okay, so now what I want you to do, Michael, is I want you to go to a couple websites, and I'm going to look away. And what I want you to do is just enter a couple websites, and I'm going to try to figure out which websites you went to just by intercepting your traffic. So I'll just look over here. And pay no attention to what you're doing. And really our goal here is we just want to see whether or not it's possible to look over Michael's shoulder digitally if we were to have a tap into this network. So, all right, Michael, you done yet?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we'll probably lose Michael's screen as we stop using this, but okay, how do I want to do this? So I'm going to unplug the internet. Now what I found is that the problem here is if we unplug the power, it can fragment the packets and the resulting capture does not work.
So wait, if it loses power, then it loses that entire capture?
It can, yes. I already had one that was just completely messed up. So all right, I now have the USB stick. So let's say I'm the hacker, I come back, I grab the USB stick, and I'm ready to start looking through all this. Well, where would I even start? Let me go ahead and plug this into an adapter, because I have to, and then plug this in here.
Because, USB-C is the one port to rule them all.
Okay.
Except when it isn't.
Sure. And then go ahead and switch over to my screen, and we can see I have a USB drive called cap. So I'm going to switch on that.
Ooh,
we can see this is called loot. That's automatic.
That's my favorite thing.
Yep, sure. We're going to open here, and then hey, we have a bunch of different captures, many of which are probably useless because they were just while we were like messing around trying to figure out what was going on. So I'm going to go ahead and arrange this by date created. And then I'm going to just open, this is either the first one or the last one. So if I just press space, I can see some details. This is 50 megabytes. The last one was that we did was 51 megabytes. Okay, so kind of hard to tell. This was apparently made at 712, whereas this one was made at 7:16. That doesn't even make sense. 7:16 p.m. versus 7:12 p.m. Okay, well all right, versus 7:11. I made these way earlier. Okay, well this program is whack and has no idea what time it is. We can assume that right off the bat. So let's go ahead and we're just gonna open this. I guess we're gonna open it in Wireshark, which is also the default program to open this. So we'll open our first roughly equivalent 50 megabyte capture, and yeah, let's see what comes up. Look at this. The capture file appears to be damaged or corrupt.
Those are my favorite kinds of files.
Yep. All right. So, wow, we have a lot of stuff going on here. Let's see if we can identify this. So, first, Michael, we can probably identify whether this was your capture or not by just looking inside the packets for your password, huh?
No, not my password.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and switch this to a string that we're looking for. And I guess let's go ahead and look at in the packet bytes and see if we can identify the value, maybe just password. So this is going to go through all the data that Wireshark found, and it's going to look and find anything that has the name password in it. So in this case, we can see...
That's a lot of highlighted stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of highlighted stuff.
Whoa, you have my password.
I'm sorry, is this your Google login?
My password's password.
Oh. Well, that certainly doesn't help with just managing to look through these strings. But as you can see, we managed to intercept some traffic here. So we have an HTTP request, and in this HTTP request, just doing a simple search for password, we can see what we actually hit on was key pass value password. It's basically describing these variables. But we can also see in plain text these variables as well. Password
that
equals...
seems not so safe.
No, it's not. Well, it's not safe at all. And as you can see, what are you trying to do? Si connecter. You're trying to connect.
Ooh.
It just means to connect.
Oh.
So
I don't know the French.
Well, this one's not very hard. It's just se connecter. But all right, so we can see there's a variety of different packets here. Some of these might be more useful than others. Like here we can see this is just data. And without the context of other packets, then it might not really help us. So if we want to, for example, follow something like a UDP stream, boom, we can right mouse click on a particular stream we're interested in, hit follow stream, and it will stitch together all the data, which for all this UDP stuff is actually quite boring.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a lot of gibberish to me.
Yeah, so this doesn't really mean very much to us just looking at it, but it may come in handy a little bit later. So I'm going to delete this little filter it automatically created. So first off, let's see if we can identify any unencrypted traffic that Michael might have created. So we can just type in HTTP. Well, that's wrong. HTTP, press enter, and this should filter out any traffic that is encrypted. And now we can see a whole bunch of traffic that was not encrypted, and we can see where it was to and from. So that's interesting. We can also see this is some cloud portal, and we can look at what's going on. Oh, it's a keep alive request. How charming. We can also see more interesting requests from mydoogle.com, and we can also, I believe we can follow HTTP stream.
Oh,
so this should allow us to see all the details of what went on here and basically what website was like loaded. And we can see all the HTML from the website here.
And a lot more readable.
Yes, it's very readable. So as we scroll down, we can see basically the website that was loaded here, which I think is funny because we can reconstruct very accurately what went on here. I'm going to go back to HTTP. And, all right, there we go again. And I just want to see, like, what's this? Online status portal. So you can go through and just keep hitting these values to see, like, a little bit more information about, like, maybe what's going on. So this is a post request to status.something.com, global sign.something something. So this is all, like, interesting because we can see that Michael's computer is making requests to over HTTP, which is not very secure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So if I want to, again, just follow this HTTP stream, I can just explore traffic coming out of Michael's computer, see what it's doing, see what it's saying. We can see that this is sending some HTTP status OK. It's sending a post request. It's sending it with this user agent, Macintosh, Intel, blah, blah, blah.
It knows more
Firefox.
about this computer than I do.
Yeah. So just from this, we can see, like, this is a Mac OS computer. We can see it's an Intel Mac OS computer running Mac OS 10.15. And then we can see some details about the Firefox like 88 or whatever this build is. So cool. All right. So we're already able to see some information about Michael's computer just from the traffic going in and out. And this is not even the stuff that like has, the juicy things in it. Like this doesn't have, oops, this isn't what I want. I want HTTP. This doesn't even have passwords or anything.
So yeah, what would the juiciest thing you could find be?
So definitely these insecure HTTP requests. So the ones that are going out to MyDoogle, like those, for example, have passwords in them, and that is bad. And we can just click and see like exactly what's going on here. We can read it here, double click to see packet data. And, if we dig through here, we can hit on strings as we can kind of see.
Now, if someone is going to a website that's like HTTPS, would it be easy to downgrade that connection?
No, it's not. And there's lots of different protections that are put in to try to prevent these sorts of attacks. So, for example, if I shifted you over to like another domain that like looked really similar, and then I had a security certificate for that, then it would be kind of probably hard to notice.
Right.
But if I was trying to like move you over to a downgraded version of the real website, like that would be more difficult to pull off, because most of these websites don't want you to do that, and they'll offer a bunch of warnings and stuff because it can be intercepted by anyone on your local network, and they want you to know that. So let's go ahead and look at another protocol that's interesting, and that's DNS. So with DNS, we can start to see what Michael was doing on his computer and like what kind of stuff is automatically running here. So we can see, oh, it's going to 1111. Wow, we know what that probably is, right?
Yeah, that's the DNS
That's
provider.
Google. No, it's Cloudflare.
Yeah, that's Cloudflare.
It's 8888. That's Google. So we can see there's additional queries. It's trying to figure out what this name is. And right now we have name resolving over here as a column. So within these packets, it should be, maybe I need to. So if I want to do that, I can apply as column. And let's see, did I do that? Yeah, so there's two names that I have. One of them is, I think, the name that's returned, and the other one is the name that's being looked up. So let's see. We can see this is, I'm going to make this a little smaller too. Radio local, so that's our local network, and you can see it's connecting to Cloudflare. We can see we got Spotify. You like Spotify, Michael?
Oh yeah, I don't think I logged out of Spotify. No, I didn't log out of Spotify.
Yeah, so we can see that Michael has Spotify running on his account. So this is, or on his computer. So this is useful for being able to determine the kinds of applications that are just, running in the background. We can see a bunch of kind of random looking, well, that's weird. A bunch of like kind of random looking local networks, like LANs. So we can see authoritative name signal, name servers, roots. Who is this? rootservers.net. I kind of feel like this might have something to do with some of the stuff you have set up on the computer. But you can see this is from 111 to ready local, back and forth, just traffic. So that's, we can see services Mozilla. We can see, oh, look at that. Michael's using LastPass.
Yeah.
That's interesting since we don't use that anymore.
I mean, I have both of them installed, LastPass and OnePass.
All right, so then we
all
have
the password managers.
webminerpool.com. That's interesting.
That was not one of the websites I pulled up.
Okay, so it looks like webminertool.com is resolving, and that, I mean, maybe Michael has a browser that is, infected with web mining stuff. So
yeah, or a browser tab.
Yeah, something like that. So that's a little. So again, this is also something you can do for your own computer to see, like, why do I have a program resolving to webminerpool.com? And do you want to check out what webminerpool.com is? Go ahead, check it out in your browser.
Okay.
So we can see there's also more Spotify stuff. We can see there was a request for google.com, followed up by, of course, the correct domain for mydoogle.com. So was there nothing there?
Yeah, it was just webminer.
Minerpool.com.
Yeah, I don't see anything there.
Interesting. Okay. All right. All right. Interesting. So, all right. So we can see that you made a request to mydoogle.com. If we scroll down here, you can see basically the query was, hey, query, mydoogle.com. Where is that? And then the answer was, hey, mydoogle.com is at this IP address. So
cool.
Then we proceeded to have a conversation at that IP address. So we can also see somebody's using Pocket. Do you like Pocket, Michael?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah. So then we can also see somebody went to foxnews.lan. Was that you?
That was one of the websites I went to.
Oh, okay. All right.
Some sneaky news up in here.
Yeah. So it looks like what was interesting is you can see this DNS request went out to Cloudflare.
Huh. Nice. Yeah, that's something I think I covered on like the Pi-hole video a little, but we could maybe do another live stream on is like how you would secure DNS messages like this with encryption.
Yeah, so these are obviously not encrypted. We can see all of it, and that means we can see all of the different stuff that is being resolved. And what's interesting is before what this looks like is your computer attempted to resolve Fox News on the local network before it actually attempted to find it on a remote network. So that's kind of funny that like by default it first sends out a request and tries to find foxnews.lan, and then it will go out and try to find Fox News. So name Foxes. Oh yeah, so it also, I think that you did a Google search for Fox. So let's break down what happened here. Michael typed in Fox News to the address bar and pressed enter. First, it assumed that he meant a local device on the network that had an MDNS or some other like DNS pointing it locally to foxnews.lan, which is the local area network. When that failed, it was just like, okay, just go to Fox News. and then that failed too, because this DNS request goes nowhere. You can see, actually, is this the response? It's just like, I don't know. So it's just like, hey, where's Fox News? And it's just like, I don't, like, what does that mean? Like, we don't know what that is. So yeah, so it didn't really give back, like anything useful, because this is not a domain. So then it went ahead and was just like, hey, go ahead and give this to Google, because I don't know what the hell this is. So it went ahead and was like, all right, where is Google? All right, you got Google? Okay, sweet. Now tell Google, now you tell me where Fox News is. So at that point, it took you to Google user content, which had information for Fox News in it.
This is kind of scary, like the level of granularity. You can tell not only that I went to a certain website, but how I got to that website.
Yeah, you can then see that Google Ad Services got involved. It's like, let's serve them ads while I was looking for Fox News. So then you can see Google leads.doubleclicknet, so then it tracked you. So this is like tracking.
So you can track the tracking.
Yep, and then you can see, okay, so at that point, it took foxnews.com, and it actually was able to get an IP address back. Like, actually, here we go. And then this is the IP address that it returned for Fox News. So it was not able to get an IP address back for any of these previous requests because they were bogus. They're not going anywhere. Right. But then you can see, all right, it brings back Fox News, blah, blah, blah. It brings back our certificate. So this is a certificate to make sure that Fox News is like legit and the correct website that we're loading. And then we can also see assets.omni.fm. Is that one you went to? Or is that a background process?
That's like a background, I'm thinking, for the Fox News website.
Okay, all right, weird. We can see a bunch of other stuff. Fundingchoicemessages.google.com, Google Analytics, OM content, encrypted gstatic. So these are all, then we can see there's another request to bbc.co. Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
All right, so we can see that Michael trucked on over to the BBC. We can see also the DNS request go out and come back. We can see the query, which is Michael's computer sent asking the question, and then the answer, which provides the actual IP address that we need to go to in order to load the content.
So question, before you were able to look at my Google search, is there a way you could like filter and just see like all the Google searches I've made? Because that would actually be really kind of scary.
Well, the way that your web browser is working is before it makes a Google search, it actually interprets it literally as a DNS request. So I can see your Google search because it's being interpreted as
anything I type in like the search bar at the top.
Exactly.
But if I went to google.com and then typed it in the middle of the page,
I don't think I can see that. No, because that's secured with SSL. So this it's kind of like when you search in the browser, it is sending a DNS request. So you can see what someone is Google searching for, provided they're using the behavior that Michael's using, which is to type it into the browser and press enter, rather than go to google.com and then run the search.
And I mean, legitimately, how many people go to google.com
and run this? Like, you set the default thing and then it just runs. But yeah, just because of this default behavior, it's going to give you a window into requests that you might have meant to make a private search through Google, but instead your browser's like, oh, that's a website, and then like tries to be like whatever, like super long string as like a website.
And I think it's those kinds of unexpected behaviors that really catch end users.
Yep. So then we can see Michael also went to NPR. Was that the next one you went to?
Indeed.
All right. So we can see, there's lots of really easy ways to see exactly what's being loaded from the website, and also like what kind of stuff is. It looks like they process their payments through Stripe.
Oh.
Unless you were no. So
no, I just went
all
to
related
NPR.
to NPR. Yeah. So this really is an interesting way of being able to. no, come back here, of being able to see what kind of traffic went out there and then pivoting on it. So let's say that we wanted to see more information from NPR. So I'm going to go and let's see. We'll take a DNS request that's just for NPR. I guess I can just take this one. And it should give me an IP address.
I love that, you know, NPR, of course, they have an API. And if you want to learn more about this sort of thing with APIs and reversing APIs, we do have several live streams on that as well. Because this kind of starts to get into where you can like analyze the way a website's working and look at their API, and then you can use that for like scraping data from the website or other cool automations like that. Sometimes you can find information they don't intend to reveal to people through APIs.
So this also is a filter I can write where I'll just see any DNS request to this IP address. So we can make this any IP address. So if this was like, I want to make it like 1111.
Oh, you could see all the DNS requests
To Cloudflare? Maybe. I don't know. I
think you have to type one,
like
one
literally
spelled out,
dot
1.1.1. Try that.
It's like a vanity plate.
No,
Okay, nothing.
I'm a
Well,
failure.
again, well, no. Don't worry. We have a lot of different things set here, and we're kind of making filters on the fly. So that's the thing about Wireshark is you can really get started easily by, let's see, DNS, by picking something you're interested in and then using it as a filter just like really quick as something to pivot off of. So here we can see we have more information about NPR. We can see requests for NPR, authoritative answers. So any value that I want to pivot off of, let's see, name npr.edgekey.org. Oh, name npr.org. So apply as filter selected. Let's see, DNS response name is npr.org. Okay, cool. So we can just see, like, we can go through and see that if we want to do foxnews.com, let's see if our fancy filter works for resolving that.
Okay, it resolved.
It did.
One? Yeah.
It did. So like this is
Cool.
how we can like kind of start slicing through this information and learn more about, you know, a particular website we might be interested in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to kind of get at is, you know, obviously in this circumstance we had a fairly limited number to look through. But if you were employing this in a real life situation, you know, you had several days, assuming several days of information. What would your methodology be like to go through all of that and find, you know, interesting information?
Well, one thing is we can go up and we can go to analyze or capture. Well, let's see, statistics, and we can go to like something like resolved addresses, and that'll give us information about which addresses were actually resolved here. Then we can also go to, I like looking at conversations. So conversations will let us know basically like between which devices what was happening and how much information was exchanged. We can also click on name resolution, and this should allow us to resolve the names of all the different servers that we're connected to. So we can look over here, and if we want to maybe filter this by just the sheer number of packets that were exchanged, we can see that the vast majority were sent for or between 192.168.1-102.local. We can also see there's another one, 192.168.1.103. So this is our webcam. We can see there's a lot of data exchange with Google. Then we can see you know, all the other things that had any packets exchanged with them, and who exchanged packets with them too.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. Can I do this? I've never applied this as a filter. Selected A to B. Meh. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool.
It did stuff.
Yeah. So I'm gonna close this. And as you can see, it has constructed a filter for me. So now I was curious before. I was like, hey, like what exactly is being passed from the webcam and you know, your computer essentially.
Yeah.
And what happened here is we're able to intercept all that data with this filter, and we might be able to pull something out of it because as you can see, it's HTTP. There's actually some JPEG interchange format here.
Oh no. Can we actually see it?
So what is that? So let's say that we wanted to find out whether or not, you know, there's some JPEGs here. Well, we can go to search, and let's go ahead and type in JPEG. And we're going to look for the string in, first we can look in the packet bytes. Let's see if anything comes back. And if nothing does, it says no. So let's go ahead and try packet details. And here we go. We get a hit on it. So we're able to see that, in fact, yes, it does have JPEG. And in fact, several of them are referenced with JPEG information. So that seems like something that we might be able to reassemble. And that is probably going to be our best thing that we do today. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to go to Wireshark and then export objects. And what I want to do is I want to specify HTTP. So this is going to go through and look for HTTP objects. And what we're looking for is an image. Now, some of this stuff is probably going to be from, as you can see, mydougal.com. So we can see we've intercepted text, we've intercepted JavaScript, and we've intercepted images from mydougal.com. But over here, we also have traffic from 102.168.1.103, which is our webcam. And this is an image that we've intercepted. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to just press save for this one. And we'll put it on, I guess, just like the desktop.
Always the best place to save things.
Intercept.jpg. So we're going to save. Go over here to Finder. Let's go to the desktop. And look at that. Wow. This horrible blurry selfie we were able to intercept from the packet capture. So one thing that's notable here is, we to just be sure that we were getting this, we hit like get still to make sure we were getting a couple still images, but this should also work on a webcam stream, provided they're coming in and we're able to intercept
as a stream of JPEGs.
Exactly, as a stream of JPEGs. So like usually you'll get a whole bunch of these, and then you kind of stitch them together, and you get like a whole just absolute ton
like
of these
GIF.
JPEGs. Yeah. And really where this is happening is in the connection between Michael's computer and the website that's being offered up to monitor the feed of the webcam. So this is cool because basically, this wouldn't work if there was some sort of transportation layer security between the webcam and Michael's computer. But frequently, IoT devices, routers, other things that have like configuration screens or menus will just not bother to put any sort of authentication there. And that means that anybody who's accessing them, watching them, configuring them, putting in their passwords, can have any of their data intercepted, either over Wi-Fi potentially, or even if they're using a local area network with one of these devices. So we had a little bit of trouble originally because of a dongle, and that's not the fault of the Packet Squirrel. But as Michael was pointing out, like this really, like you're switching around someone's internet connection, you're gonna want to test this first and make sure that it successfully is able to pass network traffic through, because when it doesn't work, it is quite frustrating and alarming. Of course, this is a product that Hak5 sells, so if you want to follow along with this, you can always pick up a Packet Squirrel. This is one of their cheaper products, and I think it's just really cool the way that it works. There's some other ones that allow you to do packet capture live, which we'll probably show off on another live stream. But this one, even with the limitation of having a USB stick there recording all the data, it still is enough to get a really interesting amount of information about any computer that's plugged in line with. So I typically see this, for desktop computers, they'll be put underneath desks or something in a way that makes the USB ports and the Ethernet port not very visible. And the fact that you can power this by just plugging it into a USB port as well as plugging it into the Ethernet, like makes it a pretty easy tool to deploy, provided you have a couple minutes to do it, and provided you have a way back in eventually. Because, then again, unless you want to use it as a VPN endpoint into the network, and at which point, you have a backdoor into the network from anywhere potentially. It's just another payload that you can deploy with this. But I think this one is actually really cool.
I think, just guessing here, I think it would be really interesting to deploy this on like a VoIP phone or something. I don't know if that's encrypted, but it could be a very interesting way to try to tap a telephone network. And you could imagine in certain situations there'd be very sensitive information being conveyed, like credit card details, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Wireshark has a whole VoIP suite that I've never used. So I'm sure that there would be some interesting things you could do there with the packet capture information. But some of what we were showing off today is just some basic ways you can get started with Wireshark. Pivot off a piece of information, make a filter, learn a bit more about something, and also use some easy protocols like DNS to look at where someone has been, use a couple of the search functions to look for passwords, and also to hunt for HTTP streams or other things that can be exported as objects, like images from websites someone might have visited or a webcam someone might have been watching.
Yeah, so you can also see potato quality images of us.
Yes, and I guess Bigfoot. Still waiting on the reveal. Michael.
But yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys for joining us. You can make sure to catch us on Friday for the live Q&A, or for the live show, as well as sometimes Wednesdays for the live Q&A.
Yep.
And if you also want to check out the Varonis brand channel, you can also find our sometimes co-host Killian showing off on Threat Update all the various attacks that big companies are up against and what they are doing to respond to them. So, yeah, that's all we got.
Yep.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.